Hello everyone. It's me, Doomlink, and my boom stand is not in a good position. I have to tell you, I don't know if game audio is fine. It's always louder here at this point, but... Now where's my controller? It's all the way over there. I'll go and get that. Oh, goodness me. Okay, so there's been a bit of a setup crisis, really, for this recording. Hopefully this controller actually will survive the recording, because it was dead, and then I plugged it in when I began setting up, but it took me so long to set up that it's probably pretty well charged at this point. I'm doing well, Vernon. Yeah, so I have a lot to talk about. First and foremost, welcome back to the Demon Souls livestream series. It's been probably at least 2 months since I last recorded, and then when I last recorded, it had probably been 2 months since I'd recorded before then. And basically that last recording, which was, to my understanding, part 63, that was me finishing off my quality build. It's now time for me to work on a new build, and I believe it's going to be a fist weapon only build. I looked at the claws, I looked at the iron knuckles, and I looked at the hands of God. Those are your three options. And I think hands of God would be more interesting because that requires strength and faith, and also they look cooler. I felt that it was more of a comparison between, or more of a decision between, the iron knuckles and the hands of God, for the reason that if I were to go the claws route, I would use sharpstone as an infusion, at which point I would be required, if I wanted to get +5 on each of those, to get 2, not just 1 but 2 pure bladestone, which, guess what, is not happening. Even getting 1 bladestone would not be happening. So yeah, claws can go away, not even on the table as an option, and between iron knuckles and hands of God wins. So that's what we're doing today. I was considering actually doing a New Game Plus run of one of my previous builds. It is almost time for me to do that. I was probably going to do the magic build because that would be first up. That was my first build that I did in this series, in the Japanese version. But I thought it would be nicer to start a new build, just because it's been a little while since I last played. And I do have Vernon watching with me as well, or watching me. And the relevance of that is that he recently picked up Demon Souls for the first time in a very long time on the PlayStation 5, and yeah, he's sort of a beginner, I suppose. So I thought it would be nicer to just do a new run anyway, but also thank you for the subscription. Again, Vern has a resub. Let me get my chat positioned all right. Something else that I wanted to talk about, not at length, or more like something else that I wanted to mention, also hello Autonomic and hello Juvenator. I wanted to say that this is the first time that I've recorded, well, it's not the first time since the PS5 version released, but the climate has changed a little bit. First and foremost, Demon Souls as a game option in Twitch is a bit confusing for the reason that there are 2 options, both of which are exactly the same. Okay, there is no differentiation based on the naming. One is Demon Souls, and the other is Demon Souls. They both have the same picture. So I just chose the first one, which maybe was a bad decision, because maybe I was thinking the first one would be, you know, the original one that was on Twitch, and then the second one would be the new one, which would be the Demon Souls remake. But maybe the first one would be the first one because most people would choose to play the PS5 version or choose to watch the PS5 version, so they put the first one as the priority, and then the second one's like, oh, you know, if you want to watch the stinky old original version, then you can click the second one, or if you want to record the second one. Long story short, Twitch is fucking dumb, and that's no surprise to anyone. Now, also, it's very interesting to see, and I wasn't sure if they were going to do this, the Wikidot page, which is the proper wiki that you use for Demon Souls, all those poor bastards using the Fextra Life wiki, I'm sorry, but interestingly they did actually decide to update it, and it's really funny because the opening line of the wiki, which has been unchanged for well over 10 years, and obviously it was quite clear, has actually been updated. So it started off with Demon's Souls is the newest... Okay, so it currently says Demon's Souls is the classic RPG game created by From Software or whatever. But it previously said Demon's Souls is the newest RPG from Software. So, yeah, that's been updated, which is good. But then other things haven't been updated, so it's a bit weird. It's all out of order. But, like, for example, they haven't removed this. Like, thinking about getting Demon's Souls, and then there are some FAQs. And the first one is, what does this game have to offer that any other RPG doesn't? Which isn't relevant anymore because this game created a genre. So actually, there are a lot of games that offer what this game offers now. Whereas in 2009, that was not the case. So it's kind of funny to see it being updated in certain regards and then not being updated in others. Hello, N10. But yeah, let's try to make a start if we can. If we can. I'll also get a beverage together. I do have whiskey. Finally. Sick of drinking port, honestly. Okay, let's do that. First and foremost, that is our first port of call. You always gotta love the sound of opening a fresh bottle of whiskey. Okay. And now, we shall make our new character. I will go to load game so you can see what other characters I have. No, go away. I have to download an update for PSN, unsurprisingly, and I don't want to do that. This was my Ostrava of Boletaria build called Ariona because he is Prince Ariona Aland. This is Alfred, I don't know who the fuck he is, but he's some other build that I did. And then I've got 2 more builds that I can do on this particular game. Now, obviously, once I run out of different profiles for all of the different versions of the game that I own... Oh, whoops, let me fix that. I just realized that I copied and pasted the last title of the Demon's Souls stream into this live stream, and there was something that I forgot to actually change, and that was the version of the game that I'm playing. It is not the Japanese version, it is the Atlus version. Silly me. That has now been updated. Because again, as I said, the last recording that I did for Demon's Souls was in the Japanese version, and it was my quality build. So, let's make a new build. We are going to have something that will obviously give decent strength and a bit of faith. My guess is that we'd probably want to start with a Temple Knight. But we'll see. We'll have a look and see. It could very well be the case that it would be a better idea to start with the, what do they call the one that's a bit more focused on priest. There you go, holy shit, couldn't think of it. It's not priest in the other games. I can't even remember these things anymore. This is what happens when you stop playing Souls games for so long. What do they call it? So it's Sorcerer, and then what's the fucking Faith version of Sorcerer? I can't think of it now. Oh my goodness. But anyway, it's priest in this game. And, yeah, it's been a while since I've played a Souls game autonomic, although maybe I did play a bit of... Oh, I was playing Dark Souls 2 about a month ago. I'm starting to wonder if it wasn't 3 months ago when I was playing this game last. Anyway, it's been a very long time since I was actually playing it frequently. So my stream setup is updated and all of that. That's the one problem with this particular live stream. Like, when I go back through the parts, because it was my first live stream series, some of them are just, you know, not as well recorded for the reason that I was developing my stream setup, but it's pretty nice now, at the very least. Oh, that's right. I think I'm usually on the other side. Yes. For my Demon's Souls recordings. Silly me. Silly me. So many things to take into consideration. Really? Less options in the PS5 version? Well, the one problem here, and this is something that dates the game, certainly, is the fact that you don't get a list of different classes here. You actually have to go through them individually to see what they are. which unfortunately is something that dates the game. It hasn't really bothered me, but now that I think about it, like if I really were to think about a way in which you would improve the game or modernize the game, that would be the first thing that I would do on this screen. It would be to make it so that you can actually see all of your options and select that way. Well, not really see all of your options, see the basic names of all your options, and then you can select that option to see more about it, and then actually determine which you will use. But anyway, I think I might do Priest for the reason. Well, actually, let's actually compare it to Temple Knight. So I think that has more dexterity, doesn't it? Yeah, we don't need dexterity, so... Although, what is the dexterity requirement for Hands of God? There might not actually be a dexterity requirement. Let's see if there is one. There isn't one. So, obviously, if there's no... Yeah, if there's no stat requirement, obviously it's at 0, and it's at 0, so... It's a 19 stat requirement for strength, shockingly. I mean, you wouldn't think that just some gold fist weapons would have such a high strength requirement, but they do. I mean, I might even call this build the Hands of God build. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do. What? There's no gender select on the PS5. What? Well, that's another way to modernize a game, isn't it? Ugh. Let's not even go there. But anyway, look, that aside, From Software has never really been able to allow you to make attractive-looking females. They've always been very masculine-looking and just weird-looking at best, so yeah, not really ideal. That's right, what am I going to call my build? Now, I could call him Jesus, because, you know, Hands of God, call him Jesus, but, you know, that might be a bit too on the nose. Maybe we could do, we'll call him Jeebus, how about that? Jeebus is good. Now, for some reason, I've taken to comical names for my characters. Jeebus, with 2 E's, because it's funnier, I guess. Jeebus. I call him this because, you know, again, Hands of God. So... Would 1 E or 2 E's be better? I think the 2 E's really gets you to say Jeebus. Otherwise you might read it as Jebus or Yebus. So we're going to go Jeebus with 2 E's because it's more obvious, you know. So he's going to be a man. We might as well give him something of a Jesus look. Hairstyle. Jesus does not have a bowl cut. I think parted centre might be the closest to a Jesus. Although that might be a little Jesus-like. There are different depictions of Jesus. Sometimes he's got hair about my length, but very straight. And sometimes he's got sort of, you know, shoulder-length hair. I don't know. Okay, maybe buzz cut would be perfect. No. I'm thinking maybe this. Or this. Okay, we'll go with this, just for a more generic look. Yeebus, yeah. Well, exactly. Someone might read that as Yeebus. Or Hebus. You know, Hebus kind of works because he's Jewish. That's actually... Ignore what I just said. But, but the point is that, you know, someone will take offense to that. It's the intention behind it, not the words. But, yeah. Point is that he's going to have dark hair. I mean, that's not even black. See how they say black, but it's kind of greenish something rather. Although the colour is going to be a bit weird for you guys. The colours are not quite right, I have to tell you, on the recording, but whatever. So we're not going to go crazy. We're just going to give him some facial hair if that's possible. Of course, those of you who are used to the character creation of the PS5 version might be a little bit shocked by what you're seeing, but now my concern is that people will turn up to this live stream and be like, what is this? This isn't Demon Souls. Is that a Jesus-looking face? No, not really. That'd be an insult, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's sort of, you know, just sort of a, I don't know, pensive, pious sort of look. I don't know. Let's go with that. Except he needs facial hair. Come on, give him some facial hair. Do we have any? I don't even remember if facial hair is an option in this game. This is one of the first times I've actually at least sort of taken character creation seriously. Okay, you can make changes to the hair colour. Which, if that's not good enough for you, but I've never bothered, I don't think. Or I might have in the past, but... Look, the reason why you don't really want to go crazy with character creation in this game is because it's very difficult to get a character that doesn't look like shit, okay? We're not talking about getting a nice-looking character. What you're trying to do is get a character that doesn't actually look bad. So sometimes you just have to go with something that looks average and then stick with that. It doesn't matter if you're hitting random until you get something good. That's usually what I do. I usually just hit random until I get something that's not actually repulsive to the eyes. I mean, it's not in mouth. I mean, it could be jaw. I'm not seeing add facial hair anyway, unless I go to general. No. Are you not allowed to get facial hair in this game? I'm sure you can in the PS5 version, but I'm going to try and not talk about the PS5 version. I only talk about it because, you know, it's probably what only... The only people who play Demon's Souls probably only played the PS5 version at this point, you know. I can't, but this is sort of what I grew up with, so forgive me if I am not desperate to play the PS5 version. I'm interested in playing it, but I can't, so I'm not going to go and get a scalped PS5 for it. I've got a little bit more. Well, actually, I'm going to stop there. I was about to say something rather offensive. Yeah, it doesn't look like today's my day. Today's not my day for facial hair. This is going to be Jeebus. I think we've basically taken care of his appearance. That's good enough. He's a priest named Jeebus. Cleanly shaven today. And I think that might be all I need to edit. So there you go. Updating save data. Sounds good. You can take your time with that, I guess. No rush. I don't really want to watch this. Would I like to play Journey to the Nexus? Should I? Just for a change? Yeah, let's do it. I usually don't, but maybe I need a bit of a warm-up. In fact, I probably definitely need a warm-up. Fortunately, I was playing a bit of Dark Souls 2 somewhat recently, and just for the record, I'm not a fan of Dark Souls 2, but I'm at peace with it now, so I can stomach the experience of playing it. I've been playing it on PC. But, yeah, so that's not going to leave me too uncomfortable here. Hello. I have to tell you, though, the 30 FPS is awkward. That's actually awkward. Because I haven't played... I mean, it wasn't an issue for the entire time that I wasn't playing on PC. Like, it was mostly... My Souls console was PlayStation 3. Right from Demon's Souls through till Dark Souls 2. And so 30 FPS wasn't an issue. Didn't seem like something disgusting, but this is a bit gross, yeah. But I'll get used to it pretty quickly, I think. It's just my first impression of 30 FPS, since it's been so long since the last time. Tell you what's been a while. Since the last time I did something, it's play a Souls game properly. Or more like play a proper Souls game, seriously, how about that? Because Dark Souls 2 is a bit... What's the build? It is in the title of the stream, Jenny. It is a... whatever you call it. Fist weapon only build. And we're going to be going with the Hands of God, so... That's the worst thing about remakes like the PS5 version. Again, this game aged so well at the time that the only way they were going to have a worthwhile remake was if they went absolutely overboard with the graphics and the models and everything on the PS5, and that's exactly what they did, and the reason why was so that this looked as bad as possible, really. So I almost feel privileged to not have my opinions of this coloured by the gratuitous graphics of the PS5 version. Because this is what I've always played, and that means I can play it and still enjoy it. I don't have to sit here and go, oh, the graphics are so ancient, oh, my eyes. Fortunately, I'm not in that situation. I mean, I will eventually, most likely, but just because I will at some point play the PS5 version, but at least I can enjoy this. I don't know, it's just normal to me. Yeah, I thought it would be good to also play the Journey to the Nexus so that you could get a full comparison. The difference would be stark, I wouldn't doubt it. You're in that situation. Well, when I go back and look at games like the original Witcher, like when the first Witcher came out, it was like, yeah, that's good graphics, cool, nice modern game. You go back and look at it now, it's like, ooh, okay, that doesn't look all that good. But because I don't know, at the time it was great. But that was 2007. So, I mean, we've moved on since then. But let me tell you that this game was very good looking for the time, of course, and it was very clean, just an amazing game. The way it played, the way it looked, everything about it was just a phenomenal RPG of its time. Absolutely phenomenal. You've been spoiled already. Yeah. Oh. Now that's what you call a partial parry, in the sense that the timing was a little bit off, but not so off that the parry failed. You can tell because I think I technically guarded that, but still took a hit. I don't really know how that works. So, you know, it's considered a guard as well as a parry. I think that's how that works. Good day. So I'm starting off with the mace here, it seems. It's just the mace, isn't it? Yeah. And, I don't know if I'm going to stick with this. I'll probably end up... Look, technically, if it's fist weapons only, I suppose I should be going fist only, shouldn't I? But that's no fun. I mean, fist only is no fun. I mean, it's not hard, it's just not... It's not fun. You know, some people like to challenge themselves, but I don't really find this to be a challenge. I find this to be boring. You know, it's like, oh, challenge yourself, dude. Link, go fist weapons only. It's like, well, that's fine, but fist weapons, I don't want to use a fist. I'll be here all night. No, thank you. No, don't do that. I didn't think my, what the fuck? Oh, I actually unequipped it. That's the problem here. I didn't know my talisman was in my right hand. Thought it would be in my left. Yeah, so if you guys can forgive me, I'm not going to be using my fist. And you can say that I'm, you know, a chicken or unwilling to challenge myself, if that suits you. But I have more self-respect than that, so I'm gonna not subject myself to, you know, 10-minute fucking confrontations with my stupid fist. And no, I'm not gonna try to kill the Vanguard with my fist, because who wants to see that? I mean, yeah, sure, sped up, great. Okay, he killed the Vanguard with his fist. But live? No. No, thank you. I'll actually opt out of that. In terms of how I look a bit distant, don't I? I do look a bit distant. I might actually increase the size of the webcam. How about that? That looks a bit better, doesn't it? Yeah. The setup today was very interesting. It's brighter than the PS5? Is it? That's interesting, because it could be the fact that I'm boosting the brightness on my end. Like, for example, I'll give you a sense of what it really looks like when I don't boost the brightness. If I don't boost the brightness, certain parts are just going to be too dark. This is the reason why I boost the brightness. But this is non-boosted. So this is what the game really looks like, okay? But, I mean, for this point right here, not an issue. Not an issue at all. But, and you know what, I might just boost it to... I'll boost it a little bit, as opposed to what I had it before. But certain parts are just too dark, and, you know, I just don't like it. I like things to be nice and visible. But this was a very dark game at the time. I remember when I first played it, I thought it was a very dark, spooky, melancholic game. As you can imagine, this guy probably doesn't look all that good these days if you're used to the modern graphics. You know, some guy is going to come into this stream and he's going to be like, why would you play this game? Are you trying to be cool? No. No, it's nothing like that. Now, ideally, when you fight this guy, you get him to do his butt attack, his ass slam. We don't want to get caught in any axe swings, Come on, do your arse attack. None of that. I don't want that. So yeah, just stay behind him ideally. And when he's doing his arse attacks, they are the easiest to handle. Whether or not I'll successfully kill him, I don't know. Because sometimes he can catch you. There's something weird about the Vanguard. He does just catch you sometimes. Like now. Oh no, he's going to do his arse slam. Well, that's good. Those are the most pathetic wings in the world, though. I can't believe he can even leave the ground. He can actually achieve liftoff with those tiny things. I mean, look at that. Obviously, that wouldn't be physically possible, but it's quite funny that even in this game's world, that's possible. Yeah, I'm keeping away from your big axe. Alright. It's interesting, he sort of stumbles from the force of his swing. I like that. Oh god, am I really stuck there? You're gonna be choking. His tail is actually keeping me in the corner. I had the corner on one side, and the Vanguard's anus on the other. That's really not that great. Yeah, I've never really had a death to the Vanguard that wasn't complete bullshit. You know, every time I die to this guy, it's just like, come on. The point is that when you're playing Journey to the Nexus, there's no room for error. You will be one-shot by him here, so... It's nicer to be killed by the Dragon God anyway. It's a bit nicer. Generally. Yeah, obviously the Asylum Demon was modelled after the Vanguard. See, I didn't want to have to roll through that. Oh, I didn't get one shot, okay. Well, that's good. I've been given a second chance here. You can't reach me from that distance, my friend. Should I bother trying to heal up here? I don't know. Yeah, so basically I took the wrong approach there. What I really should have been doing was staying behind him like I knew I should, but I was instead being a bit lazy and going to his front, which is not a good idea, clearly. So I'm fully healing in the event that I take another hit. And I'll actually be able to take the hit. You can see that he does do a random swing that is not telegraphed like these attacks are. It's designed to really throw you off. Here we go. Now some would probably prefer that I don't even attack him here, because it's rather time consuming. But imagine if I was using my fist. That would not be fun. You know, I really should have been using the heal miracle, shouldn't I? That would have been a little smarter than wasting my Crescent Moon. I just didn't think to do it because I do not use faith builds very often. Wouldn't it be better to go naked? Not if you're trying not to get one shot. I'd rather not get one shot. It's because of my armor that I didn't die in one hit. I don't need the mobility for this fight. And you can see just even walking is good enough. I'm fat rolling when necessary, basically just to give me the invincibility frames. Or rolling, which happens to be a fat roll. I don't know if you can see these ghosts. They can be hard to see in the recording. But there were some ghosts in this area, which is not... Basically, they're not really there. In the sense that they're not actually reflecting what other players are doing. I'm playing in the offline right now. And even if I was online on PSN, there are no servers, so... It did throw me off for a little while, because I never really played this game in the offline. And then, when the servers disappeared, I thought they hadn't disappeared, because there are certain parts in the game where they do show other players. Like, see this ghost here shooting his bow? That's not actually a person. That's just an effect that they've added for some reason, I don't know. To give you a sense that you're online, even if you're not, I guess. And again, that's not something that I noticed until I started playing in the offline because the servers disappeared. Because I was always online prior to that point. It's kind of odd. So now that we've killed the Vanguard, we will end up teleporting to the Dragon God. And the interesting thing here is that I think you immediately die. Like immediately. Unless I pick this up. What's this? Full moon grass? Well, that's nice of you to give me. I'd like to show it off at least. Oh, I see. Sorry, it's been so long since I've been through here. Usually I don't bother killing the Vanguard because you see him so soon anyway. And I forgot about all the extra stuff they give you. That's good. Maybe it's worthwhile killing the Vanguard after all. Let's see if I can pick all this up before he kills me. I think he will. He doesn't seem to attack you until you go past that point. What a good shot. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, I see. It's a cutscene. I'd forgotten that. It's been so long. So you get punched. Look at that. Obliterated. Falcon punched by the fucking dragon god. You died. Now, that's actually better than being killed by his fire breath, if you think about it. You just get fucking punched by this muscular dragon with 2 mouths. I'll take that. That's pretty funny. Oh, it feels good to be drinking whiskey again. You have died, and the Nexus has trapped your soul. You cannot escape the Nexus. However, by capturing demon souls, you can reclaim your physical body. And we receive the Nexual Binding, which is indeed the... God, I forgot what they call it in the Dark Souls games now. It's, God, it's so sad when you start to forget little things like that. It's like the Dark Sign. It's the Dark Sign, isn't it? Basically, it takes you back to wherever you last rested at in the Dark Souls games, whatever your last bonfire was, and removes all of your souls from your counter. In this game, you can return to the Nexus at any time, at the cost of all of your souls. The Nexual Binding is not really worthwhile. I don't think I've ever used it seriously, except maybe when I was first playing this game. We've started off with 682 souls. I will be in the way of the souls counter, if you can forgive me. But, unfortunately we can't use any of them, because we need to wait until we clear World 1-1 before we can speak to the Monumental and indeed engage in... soul... what is it? Shit. Like, you're trying to have a conversation with your audience and you can't fucking remember anything. Seek soul something. See, anyway, doesn't matter. Level up. Let's just say level up. Let's stop using the in-game terminology, not technology. Jesus Christ, Doomlink, you're having a bit of a day. We will actually hold off on consuming these souls, obviously, until such time that we level up. And then, yeah, that'll be good. We start off with the Heater Shield, which is a good starting shield. And quite frankly, the Mace is a good starting weapon as well. It is Dragon God, actually. It's neither Demon King nor Dragon King. Now, they might have changed his name. I don't think they would have. He's supposed to be the Dragon God. That is his actual name. Whether they've changed it or not, I couldn't say. Again, there will be no comparisons drawn, at least not by me today, between this game and the remake, because I've never played the remake, and I've completely limited my exposure to it. I know nothing about it, so yeah. Except for what I've been told, which is that it is quite a faithful remake. To the extent that, or to an extent that I was not expecting, for the reason that the remake was a launch title. And, oh, stop that. And I was just expecting that with it being a launch title, more would be riding on this than ever. Like, it's not just going to be a remake of a game that is celebrated. It's going to be a launch title. It's going to be what gets people to buy the game at launch, or excuse me, the console at launch. Which means that it needs to have modernizing and streamlining in certain places, and I don't think that took place. I don't think that happened. Which is shocking, and really against all the odds. Totally against all the odds. You don't get that in games today. In gaming. And we don't necessarily have Bluepoint to thank for that, because you have to understand that, I mean, we do to an extent. We do actually have Bluepoint to thank for it, because they could have made changes, and they chose not to. But more than anything else, Bluepoint were not the ultimate power in all this, in the sense that they were not going to have the last say. The people who were going to have the last say were Sony. And Sony decided, well shit, whatever they did before was good, so keep it that way. Which is shocking, because a lot of people, or a lot of companies, do not have the, I guess, the stability, the mental fortitude to realize, okay, we don't want to try and make something better if it's already perfectly fine. You know, people are always trying to make things better. But sometimes you can hit upon something perfect almost by chance. Oh, fuck off! Shut up. There's nothing more annoying than getting a fucking call in the middle of a live stream. It's enough to make me want to scream. But I suppose I'd better answer that call. I just need to find a good stopping point. This is not the sort of game where I can just stop at any time. So I have to... This is a good point to pause. I'm not going to be attacked. You guys can get a good look at Jeebus while I'm answering this call. Hold on. There you go. That's a good shot of Jeebus. I will be back in probably 3 minutes, I will guess. I'll see you in a moment. I'm back. Hope you enjoyed the deep stare of Jeebus. Also, welcome Doom Guy, and yes, it is a Bathory shirt. It is Hammerheart. And fortunately, it's not backwards, because oftentimes I'm on the left side of the screen, which requires me to flip my webcam display. But because I'm on the right side, it is in fact not flipped. So there you go. And also, hello, Keyboard Smasher. Good day. That's really funny. He just sort of stood there. I had my shield in his face. Maybe that's why. Maybe he became very confused. He was like, what is this thing in my face? Well, now you know. It belongs to a man who wants you dead. And that man is me. Well, that man is Jeebus, actually. I'm not self-inserting. Got some firebombs. The firebomb effect is very underwhelming in this game. You know, I have a feeling that even when it came out, I felt that something was wrong. You know, firebomb, and it was this little flame. Maybe it's all they could really manage graphically, at least for the performance of the game. Because even with whatever concessions they had to make, the game doesn't perform amazingly on the PS3. So I would say if they had a larger explosion, that probably would have been too much. But then again, you know, you've got the dragon's fire, so like the fire breathing of the dragon. So I don't know. Maybe that's not a good theory after all. Yeah. Oh. Lord Doom. Well, I do not have a character named Lord Doom in 3 Ultimate. Pretty close though, you know, Doom Link, Lord Zor, Lord Doom. That's pretty funny. And launch you into the damn corner where you belong. Now I may as well get the Cling Ring. I'll probably just, I'll play the game properly. I'm not going to skip anything. When I say properly, I mean, well, you know, not skipping anything. I kind of quantified what I was saying immediately. Yeah, you can stop that. No, you fucking don't. I'm taking hits rather foolishly. Let's maybe be a little more careful with what we're doing here. Feels weird playing, though. Has been a while. Wow, I didn't realize the follow-up from the R2 was so quick. Look at that. See how it's kind of faster than you'd expect? Yeah. Rejuvenator, stop asking that question. You do not need any extensive discussions about Kaifuku Jutsushi no Yari Naoshi. That's really not a good idea. Oh. It is quite a show, though. Don't get me on the subject. So that's a bastard sword down there, isn't it? Yeah, I don't really want that. When I said isn't it, it was more like, is it the flamberge or the bastard sword? But the flamberge is in 3-2, towards the start. I don't even know how to answer that question, Juvenator, so I'm going to not. How about that? I'm going to not. Oh. Missed the backstab there. Oh. Now, these guys do present a little bit of a problem for beginners. They can quite effectively shield your attacks. And they can shield a lot of them. So those who are trying to approach this game from a hack and slash point of view, or trying to play it like a hack and slash game, will quite quickly find that that's not a good way to play when they come across enemies such as those. And I can certainly attest to how annoying they were to fight when I couldn't play the game properly. They were annoying. You can see that I opt for swift parries in this game, like in the sense that I attack before the animation has completed and then I let the game catch up to what I've done, which allows for that instantaneous parry. And that's kind of the way I've always parried, to be honest. It's just looking for the cleanest parry. It's not necessarily a technique. Technically, it would be better to... I guess it comes down to confidence in one's own skill. But technically, you could say that it would be better to wait to see if you've achieved the parry first. Parries aren't too difficult if you actually know what the enemy's doing. How have you already been broken? What happened there? Who broke you? This is a chain that's supposed to be in place, like here, and it's already broken. The left one, if you're facing towards the door, is the jade hair ornament. That's the important one. This one's like the old raggedy set, or the old raggedy robes, which I believe is Yuria the Witch's set. I don't think you get the hat, I think you just get the robes and the leggings or something like that. Maybe the arms as well, maybe everything except the hat, probably. That's probably what it is. Now this is definitely a dangerous place to fight in, for the reason that you do have barrels and lots of flame-wielding enemies here. So you just sort of lure them out one at a time if you can. The worst thing to do is actually go down in here and fight them. It's very dangerous. You've got barrels here, and that's all the barrels, but still. Even without the barrels, quite frankly. There were probably barrels here too. Yeah, there were barrels here, I'm pretty sure. You can see pieces of them. But yeah, even without the barrels, fighting all of those enemies in this enclosed space would be dangerous, but they've gone and added the barrels as well, so it's pretty fucking unideal to just run in there and attack. And again, that's why this is sort of a tutorial location. You can say the Nexus is your tutorial location, but I don't really... Or, excuse me, Journey to the Nexus. They say Journey to the Nexus is your tutorial. It sort of is. But more than anything, this is your tutorial, because this is the real game. You're here in the game now, and you're being taught what not to do. You're being taught, okay, I can't just run in and attack enemies and win. I can't just mash my attack button and win. I have to actually watch what the enemy's doing, and I have to watch where the enemies are, how many of them are there. In other words, moving through slowly. Which, when this game came out, was an absolute novelty in the sense that most JRPGs that you played were absolute hack and slash games. So, yeah, what I'm doing here is I'm making amends for my stupidity, which was me not actually equipping my thief ring before jumping down. So I'm just sort of widening the distance between myself and the enemies. Yeah, the spear guys are no fun. What the fuck are you doing? You're supposed to be doing that over there. That's what you call an AI glitch. Now, what he was doing was looking up at Ostrava, except he was standing here. He's supposed to be standing all the way over there if he's doing that, so... I don't think I've come across that before. That's pretty funny. Can you not do that? I don't even know what to say to that. That was just stupid. I'm not really too concerned that I died, because no matter what, I do at times die in this location, because weird shit happens, but that was really dumb. Like, I walked in there, and then I was stuck because the guy to my left was preventing my exit, and then the flurry of attacks just caused me to be stuck in that spot. Anyway, that was a bit dumb. Hello, potato. I'm going to run the rest of this because I don't want to kill all these enemies again, because otherwise you'll be looking at all of what you've seen in this location so far all over again, so we're not going to be doing that. And I suppose to speed things up I will do this. Am I fast now? No, I'm not. Okay, I'll take that off. How about that? There you go. Yeah, I'll fuck off. Now, going up through this way is probably... No, you know what? I'm not going to do that. That's not necessary. It's not going to make things all that faster anyway. So we'll do this. And with the Thief's Ring, this will be all the easier. Now, technically you can get through... I mean, if anyone's watched a speedrun of a Souls game, you'll know that running through enemies is perfectly viable as a strategy if you're trying to get through the area. But if you're trying to get through the game itself, not a good idea, because you do need souls to progress comfortably through a Souls game. So running through the enemies should only be for situations such as these where you just want to get back to where you died, and you know, the enemies aren't going to drop too many souls anyway. It can actually be a good thing to die repeatedly in a Souls game, provided you can get your souls back. If you can't get your souls back, probably not all that good, but if getting your souls back is something you can always do, even though you're dying repeatedly, you'll be in a good situation, because eventually you'll be looking at a lot of souls on hand. It actually accumulates quite well. Alright, let's get all that back on. That was really dumb. It's not the first time I've died in this area on camera, but it's the first time in a while. First time in a number of builds, I think. Obviously saying first time in a while doesn't mean all that much, because I haven't been playing this recently. Well, I can deal with you. He's like waving at me. Hello. What happened to the... What? These guys don't respawn. Well, you learn something new every day, don't you? Now, the brass telescope, ladies and gentlemen, and I do this more for the PS5 players than anything, because the brass telescope, even when this was the newest Souls game, was just garbage. I mean, you would never use it for anything. It's just completely stupid. And it was made all the more clear how bad the brass telescope was when Dark Souls came out and you had the binoculars. But the brass telescope is this. Now, this doesn't achieve anything. You've got this dickhead swinging his telescope in your field of vision anyway. It's not that much of a... Anyway, it's just a very silly item. It's more of a joke than anything. And the reason why I say that that's for the benefit of the PS5 players is because I know that whatever they had in the PS5 version, it wasn't like that. They're not going to do that. You know, they'll have it operate like the binoculars did. Can you get in range, please? Or we can do a backstab, that's fine.
What on earth are you doing? Please, you must not. I thought we were allies.
Yeah, well, we're not. Oh, really? Your death spot's easier to see in this version. Wonder why they... Well, maybe that's considered more difficult if you can't see your death spot more clearly. Your bloodstain would be the terminology. Are you actually ignoring this Dregling? He's actually ignoring the Dregling. Now, of course, Ostrava's AI in this area, even from the beginning, was cause for extreme entertainment. Because he just was never well designed for this area. He'll just walk back and forth, and sometimes he can actually glitch out or die weirdly, and you won't be able to get his mausoleum key. It's really very annoying. I think my first run through Demon Souls, that's what happened. Like, he actually glitched out or despawned or died, and I couldn't get his mausoleum key. I really wanted it. You gonna help out? Yeah, you are. Now, that doesn't happen all the time. I'll stop it. Oftentimes, he won't even come down here. He'll just wander off. I guess he wanders off by default, and if it takes you too long to get down here, he'll be too far away to actually help you out. That's probably how that works. Well, you can stop that. Haven't really been doing the strong attacks, but you can see that they're quite good. In terms of getting Hands of God, I can prioritize that, in the sense that maybe I'll go to... No, maybe I should do 1-2 before 2-1. I don't know, we'll work it out. But Hands of God... Actually, now that I think about it... Do you pick up 1 or 2? I think you pick up 2. I'm quite sure. I believe both of them are picked up in the same spot. I just wonder because it's been so long since I've even bothered to pick them up. Because they're slightly out of your way. Sorry, Ostrava, I don't mean to attack you so much. I really don't. Thank you, Keyboard Smasher, for the follow. And thank you, Doom Guy, for the follow. I guess you're watching together as friends or something. So, yeah, again... World 2-1 can be a little bit challenging to get through if you haven't really leveled up much, but... Or more time-consuming than challenging, but... Yeah, once you get to World 2-2, you can get Hands of God basically immediately. Because you just do the drop down to the Flame Lurker and then avoid the rockworms and go get yourself some Hands of God. Which Jeebus will enjoy greatly. You can stop that. Go and backstab you there. We do have a blue-eyed knight just up there, but he won't be bothered by us, at least with the thief ring equipped, until we get a little higher up. Now this is something that I always forget. It is Thief's Ring. Thief's Ring. As in belonging to the thief. It is not just Thief Ring. I always say Thief's Ring, but sometimes I'm like, is it Thief Ring? Like, I don't know why I second guess myself on that. I've been doing that for like 12 years. What's wrong with me? Like, seriously. That was a little dangerous. Don't do that, Doomlink. In fact, I'm gonna go and kill you. That was fucking dangerous, wasn't it? I mean, that... If you've got vertigo... Yeah, whatever. He quick-scoped me, you know. That's fine. He got me in the neck. Or in the nape. Oh, just when I was trying to demonstrate it. Anyway. Don't you love the fog gates? I suppose I should have demonstrated it a little better, but... the fog gates of the first Dark Souls were something that I was disappointed in. Now, a lot of people who played Dark Souls hadn't played this game when that came out, so they didn't really care, but for me, I was telling everyone, God, they really fucked up with the fog gates. I mean, they're just so... I mean, I guess they're more foggy than they were here in this game, but in my opinion, the way they did fog gates here in the original Demon Souls, it was just so much nicer looking. And yeah. Not necessarily saying that the fog gates of Dark Souls were stylistically bad, but yeah, I have a clear preference. Now, just up here is where Vernon last screenshotted his game for me. It's where the two dragons are. As far as whether or not I'll bother getting their stuff, I don't know. You can see that the colours of the dragons are much better here in this game, Vernon. Something that struck me with your screenshot was just how poorly coloured the dragons were. They looked almost... it was cartoonish, actually. You can see the colours here are just more realistic. You know, they look like the colours of dragons, whereas the blue dragon especially just looks like he's been painted blue. It's like some dickhead went and got the bucket fill tool on the model, like took the model into MS Paint and did the bucket fill tool. And it's like a really bright blue. It's just stupid. Whereas this is nicely coloured, and so is the red dragon. So, there you go. It's a little different. Am I going to bother getting any of this? You know what, I don't really have a need to. So, the two things that you would want here are the Purple Flame Shield and the Ring of Great Strength. I don't really have a need for either of those things, so I'm just going to not. I mean, you always will get some use out of the Ring of Great Strength, but I couldn't be bothered getting it. It's very rare that I get the Ring of Great Strength without dying, because usually by the time you're standing there picking up the Ring of Great Strength, the tail of the blue dragon will come down and smash you on your head. So, I couldn't really be bothered getting that, for the reason that I will more than likely die doing so, and I've already died once in this location, so I'm going to hold off on that. Green and red rat, that's right. You're absolutely right. Well, this is more like blue and red rat. Alright, let's hopefully make it. Oh, I hate that. I have to go back now, because I glitched on his fucking claws. That happens. Not often, but depends on how you're timing it. Oh, come on. Am I going to glitch on him again? No, not this time. You need to be pretty good with your timing on this, though. You can't fuck around too much. And see these guys? They... Did you... Yeah, you got me, you fucking assholes. They push you... That's the real problem with this. They actually push you into the path of the fire. Those actual dickheads. Even with Thieves' Ring. Doesn't matter if you've got it or not. They will push you into the path of the fire, and I hate them for it. It is a goddamn frustration. I'm not even going to kill you. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of death. It's going to let you stand there, achieving nothing in life. And in that way you will suffer. Not for my entertainment specifically, but the thought of it is pleasant. Yeah, come on. You can always parry the Dreglings, but it always feels like overkill, because they don't have much health anyway. Can be a strategy. And some turpentine. Might use a heal miracle for a change, how about that? Might be a plan. Might be a plan. I feel like I'm a bit too orange, don't you? I'm probably gonna make some changes to my white balancing. Now, parrying these guys is certainly an option, but excuse the loud burns. I'm just gonna kill this guy in here. I don't want him to come out. Sometimes, you never know, the AI is very strange. Sometimes they just come out even though they have not been or you have not been anywhere near them. And it just, yeah, I don't know. So I'm just going to fix my white balancing just a touch. It's barely even going to be noticeable for you, honestly, but there you go. Barely noticeable. But it is an improvement. So, with that. One-shotting the Dreglings, provided it is a counterattack. So that does not count as a counterattack, for the reason that I did not block him. So that's like a stat, or part of the combat that not everyone's familiar with. Counterattacks versus non-counterattacks. You get a slight damage boost if the enemy has been repelled by your attack. That is considered a counterattack, and there is a window in which you can achieve that increased damage. And it seems that if I get a counterattack off, I can successfully one-shot with an R2. But if it's a non-counterattack, that means that I cannot one-shot. These guys, of course, have a chance to drop the Hardstone and Sharpstone that you get in the early game. Doing my strong attacks here at the expense of my stamina. But that's only 3 attacks. Pretty good. That was a long run through the first area. I don't know why it took so damn long, but maybe it didn't take all that long. Oh no, we're an hour in and I'm only just now getting to the phalanx. That's kind of awful. Not sure if I'm too impressed with that. Well, that would have been a parry if you were on target, Mr. Dregling. Hello? That was really funny. Like, my character just stopped his animation. He was like, no, I'm done with this. Of course, here is the Scraping Spear. In its actual size, not its resized form to be used as an actual weapon. You can sort of climb up the Scraping Spear. Not very far, I don't think. Don't do your barrel roll. I don't need your barrel rolls, sir. Alright, we are going to unequip these grasses. That's not really necessary to have them. And we're going to get Turpentine and Firebombs. Kind of overkill. But we're going to start with Firebombs. Because I never use Firebombs in any other situation. Or at least I don't find myself doing that. Little baby explosion. But with a big effect, as you can see. Now you can get overwhelmed by these little guys. So just be aware of them. Like situations such as these, if you're getting hit quite frequently, just go behind one of these pillars and you'll be fine. Oh, stop it. See, that's the worst thing, just getting flinched constantly. So, depending on what you value more, Turpentine or Firebombs, you can choose to use one or the other. I don't really value either, so I use both. But if you're really struggling with the fight... Okay, let's actually be careful here. If you're really struggling with the fight for some reason, then it's probably because you don't have either of them, and you haven't used either of them. And it's important to use at least one of the two in the early game. Like, if you don't have much to your name in terms of stats, then it's good to use something that increases your damage, such as Turpentine, or just using Firebombs to deal with the small guys. Because they do cause trouble. They definitely cause trouble. Right, let's do some strong attacks here. It is also worth noting that all of the small enemies, the minions, will die automatically when the main boss, the Phalanx, has been killed. And that does not affect your drop rates for the ores that you can possibly get, like the Sharpstone and the Hardstone. You can still get the same drop rates, basically. Just thought that would be worth mentioning, because maybe some people would think that it would be better to kill them individually without letting them die automatically. Because if you kill them individually, you'll get a chance to get the Hardstone and Sharpstone. What I'm saying is that you will get them regardless. So if you see an opportunity and you can kill the phalanx, the boss, without killing the minions, do it. It's a good idea. There's the maid in black. She has made an appearance. Good day. I'm one-handing my controller here. Alright. Up we go. This is not New Game Plus. This is a new build. I would be deeply concerned if my New Game Plus run had a loadout like this, with Crescent Moon Grass. Ooh, might be slow going for healing there. But yeah, this is not New Game Plus, this is just New Game. And it will be a fist weapons only run soon. I just don't have access to fist weapons, and I don't want to subject myself to using my fist only versus these monsters, because it would be so slow going, and quite frankly I don't think that would be entertaining either. I'm not here to prove a point, that point being that I can kill them with fists, because I can. It just takes so damn long, and it's not fun. Don't say no! Come on. It's very annoying when I do that accidentally. No, you fucking... Give me the option again. Are you kidding me?
You must lull the old one back.
Yeah, well let me fucking say yes to your question. I was skipping your text. It's been a long time since I've done this. Do I have to reload? Oh, I'm sorry. I said no, did I? Fuck you. Now here's hoping I can quit and reload for that. Hello, Exio. Will I be killing old King Doran? No. I don't do it unless I feel like I want his armor set. And I don't really want it for this build, so... I technically could, but I always cheese him. I don't kill him legitimately. He's very hard to kill legitimately, and not really worth the effort. He's technically the hardest boss of New Game, and probably, you know, relatively speaking, the hardest boss across the board. Just because he has so much health and he deals so much damage. He's not generally a hard fight, but he just takes so long that at some point you're going to slip up and take a hit from him, and that can one-shot you, and it's just not really worth the effort. I cheese him. How's Demon Souls treating me? It's been treating me reasonably up until the point where I said no to the Monumental asking if I wanted to actually continue playing the game, which is practically what the question was. The fact that this is a yes or no fucking option, I mean seriously. You make me... Oh, I'm gonna kick your head in. Alright. So, it's been a long time since I've said no accidentally to this question, so... Obviously I have to leave and then come back. What is your problem? Unless now that I've spoken to the Monumental, that's good enough. And I'll be able to seek soul power. Which I couldn't remember before. I was like, seek soul what? Seek soul what? It's seek soul power, which I actually had floating around in my head, but it didn't sound right, but it is seek soul power. Anyway. You... Okay. Okay, now.
What is it? Dost thou...
I do.
So after...
Well, that's very interesting. So, provided you talk to the Monumental, that's good enough. You don't have to say yes to her question, which is, will you take on the task that is given to you in the game? It's not. It shouldn't be a yes or no question. It should be, yeah, I'm doing it. Okay. Well, I guess it's a yes question, but that's the situation. Now, one thing that is definitely going to change here with this live stream versus what it was before the remake was that when I used to play... Yes, I'm playing on PS3. When I used to play, very few people would watch the stream and know what was going on in the game because so few people had played it, for some reason. I guess because it was PS3 exclusive and it was awkward to play and all that. For people who didn't have a PS3. But now that the game has a remake, and the remake is so similar to the original, most people watching this will probably be familiar with what I'm doing, and probably might even backseat play. We'll see. I haven't had to deal with that in the past, but maybe now I will have to. It's been many, many months since I last recorded this, so the climate has shifted. that's right. Before we level up, I will consume all of this. So I've got the Grey Demon Soul, which I would not use to make the Dozer Axe because it sucks. The Lead Demon Soul can be used for good things, but I don't want it, thank you. Alternatively, you can equip these souls and use them from Square on the usable items, which I will actually do for these ones, because I've got 6 of them. The Unknown Soldier Souls. This is a lot faster than having to use the menu. Of course, it wasn't until Dark Souls 2 that you were able to consume more than 1 soul at a time. So, we are now at 13,180 souls, which I'm reporting to you for the reason that I'm covering the soul counter. No, I didn't play the remake. Not because I didn't want to, but because getting a PS5 at launch was dumb, because it was expensive at launch, and now it's even more expensive because they're being scalped and there's a huge shortage of them. Overall, I didn't really want to get a PS5 generally, because I don't play console games. I don't play on console, except for Nintendo consoles, in the modern era. And I wasn't going to get any use out of the PlayStation 5 outside of playing the Demon's Souls remake, so it wasn't worth the price at launch, and it's even less worth the price now. So yeah, I won't be playing the Demon's Souls remake for a long time. A long time. Again, not because I don't want to, but because it's just not reasonable for me to do so. So we don't need any dexterity. No dexterity needed. I don't think I'll be... Let me just make sure that you do get 2 Hands of God. I believe you do. There is a pair of these found in 2-2. Good. So you do get both, which I suspected, but I just wanted to make sure. If you're wondering why I found out so quickly, it's because I do have the page open for them on the wiki.wiki. But yeah, no dexterity requirement. I will not be using a shield. So dexterity can stay at 8. That was the reason why I chose a priest class. Because it gave strength but not dexterity. So it would be unnecessary to have dexterity points. I did not get a PS4 for Bloodborne because I played Bloodborne at launch and I fucking hated it. So there you go. I played it with a friend, of course. When it came out, there were a lot of issues when it came out, particularly loading screen times. But outside of that, I just didn't like the game. I preferred the Souls formula, absolutely preferred the Souls formula. I felt that Bloodborne was a step backwards from that formula, and I couldn't play it as its own game. I played it as a Souls game and hated it for that reason, and there are a lot of other reasons why I hated it. Looking back on my experience, my opinion hasn't changed, and I likely won't play Bloodborne for a long time to come. And no, I didn't get a PS4 for that game. I got a PS4 for Monster Hunter World, but I sold that and Monster Hunter World when I found out that Monster Hunter World also sucked terribly. So, you can probably figure out what kind of person I am based on that. I hate Bloodborne and I hate World. I must be, you know, some kind of freak. But that's me. Hello. I don't take pleasure in having unpopular opinions. Because it sucks, I can tell you. People get offended. What are we going to upgrade first? Now, it might be a good thing to... is there a spear weapon that doesn't have much of a dexterity requirement? I don't think there would be. I would say that all spears would have a base, or like a minimum dexterity requirement of 10. Like even a basic spear. For the reason that they're usually dexterity based, as opposed to strength. And I would like to have one for World 2.1 and 2.2. But let me have a quick look. I'll have a look at spear weapons. I just don't remember the stat requirements anymore. Spear / poles. Okay, so short spear. 10, as I thought. Yeah, 10 is exactly what it is. And I would have to buy your short spear from the Dregling Merchant. So I'd have to put souls into 2 points of dexterity plus 1,500 for the weapon itself. which sucks. My alternative would be to pick up the winged spear from the bridge in World 1-2, but then I would have to put 4 points into dexterity, which I don't want to do, so I can probably do that. Anyway. I don't like the cards I've been dealt today, but that's alright, I can get you to 10. Of course, what I just did cannot be undone. I'm assuming that the Soul's upgrading system, or the Soul Power, I don't know why they say take Soul at the top, that is a terrible translation. I mean, what were Atlus thinking? Take Soul? Take Soul, yeah. Take Soul. I don't even know what to say to that. Anyway, I wish I knew what it said in Japanese, because, yeah, that's an awful translation. But yeah, I would imagine that the PS5 version, the remake, would have a more modernized leveling up system here, because you can't even see what you're doing. I was very appreciative of the change in Dark Souls that allowed you to sort of see how much the stats would increase before committing to leveling them up. But here, and also see exactly how much you can level up before you do it. But here, not really. It's a little bit awkward, I regret to say. In terms of whether or not I'll use miracles, I haven't really considered that. I could always do second chance or something like that. Well, that's an interesting point that you've just made, All Hail New Flesh. He says, damn, you really have unpopular opinions. You must love Dark Souls 2. Let me tell you a story about that. I played Dark Souls 2 at launch and fucking hated it. But guess what? Everyone else thought it was amazing. Let me tell you why. It's because they'd never played Dark Souls and they'd never played Demon Souls. I had. And I could see that Dark Souls 2 was complete shit, but I was the one guy in the Souls community, well, in what had become the Souls community, given that Dark Souls 2 had accessed a whole new part of the gaming world that the Souls series had not yet touched on, because it was the most well advertised. And, yeah, everyone was like, oh, Dark Souls 2 is so great, this is a great game. I hated it. I couldn't play it. I stopped playing it before the first DLCs, or the first DLC drop came. So, yeah, that was my Dark Souls 2 experience. And then, next thing you know, I mean, it wasn't until around 2018, about 3 years after it came out, that I realised that opinions had changed. Like, opinions had shifted. I was talking to a guy that I was playing World with at launch, and he said to me, you know, a lot of people don't like Dark Souls 2, and I was like, excuse me? And he said, yeah, like, everyone hates Dark Souls 2, it's like everyone rips on it, and I nearly fell off my fucking chair, because that's not how it was when it came out. Well, 4 years later, that's right, it was 2014, wasn't it? Shit. But yeah, like, no one had an issue with the game at the time, because they hadn't experienced the other games, they didn't have a point of reference, they loved the formula, didn't realise that it was a step back from the way the formula had been previously expressed, and therefore had an uninformed opinion, and kind of shockingly didn't result in the series going backwards. You know, From Software was smart enough to know that they had gone backwards on that front. And then we get Dark Souls 3, which shockingly was a return to form. And I was not expecting that. I didn't play Dark Souls 3 at launch because I had no faith in it. I was completely shut off from the community, and I didn't know that maybe some people had actually realised that Dark Souls 2 was bad, and what I said was, in my mind at the time, I cannot trust the community's reaction to Dark Souls 3 for the reason that they loved Dark Souls 2 when it came out. So I cannot trust what anyone says about Dark Souls 3, so I'm just going to shut off from it. I eventually played Dark Souls 3 in 2018, after I'd found out that people actually hated Dark Souls 2, finally, and it was shockingly good. I was shocked to see how much they had brought back from Demon Souls. I was not expecting that at all. And it was an amazing moment. Now, there are certain parts or certain aspects to Dark Souls 3 that might not be all that good, but it's on par, in my opinion, to that of Demon Souls and Dark Souls. Probably closer to Demon Souls, really. Because Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls, will always be the best for the interconnected world. And for a point of reference, or just for food for thought, so many people, even up until the year of 2018, which I believe is when the remaster came out for Dark Souls, the vast majority of Souls players had not even played the first Dark Souls game. That game was on 3 systems, or 3 platforms, Xbox 360, PS3, and PC, and the vast majority of people had not even played it until such time that it received a remaster. Not that it really needed one, it kind of did, but the game was still incredible, despite the fact that it might have sort of needed a remaster, but ultimately didn't. My point being that they shouldn't have needed an excuse to play it. They shouldn't have needed a new release to play it. It was because they had chosen not to play it at the time that Dark Souls 2 came out that everyone was sitting there going, oh, Dark Souls 2 is great. It's because they had no idea what a good Souls game was. They had no clue. So, as a result, there was ignorance. Now, fortunately, that didn't result in From Software going in the wrong direction because they were smart enough not to take the community reaction too seriously. They understood that the community reaction was an ignorant one. And they knew that Dark Souls 2 did better, not because of how it was designed, but because of how it was marketed, because of how it was advertised, which is exactly why games like World have done better. You know, people really, they misconstrue success for good game design. They think that they go hand in hand. They do not. Oftentimes, success is linked to marketing. In fact, the vast majority of the time, it's linked to marketing. So that's the way it is. I didn't mean to get into this rant, but I was sort of pushed into it. Everything that I've said right now, I've said countless times in this particular series, and I feel sorry for any person going through the playlist and having to hear me say this again. But, you know, it's just... Look, when it comes to Sekiro, I mean, you're right in that I wouldn't like Sekiro if I hated Bloodborne, in the sense that it's a good thing to assume. I don't know, actually. I've never touched Sekiro because I hated Bloodborne. Because I didn't like Bloodborne and what it was, the timing was bad too, you know. I was disenfranchised with the series as a result of Dark Souls 2 and the fact that everyone loved it, and then I played a game that was kind of marketed as a Souls game at the time, and it just wasn't Souls, and in my opinion it was worse, so it absolutely caused my whole mood to dive bomb. You know, what was previously my favourite game series was just dying before my eyes, and I hated it. And the community didn't give a shit, and all this business. The timing was not nice for Bloodborne for me, because it came after Dark Souls 2, but, you know, timing was a little better for Sekiro, but purely because of my experience with Bloodborne, I felt, maybe I just won't do that, because maybe I can't appreciate a From Software RPG unless it has the Souls formula, you know? Or unless it keeps to the Souls formula to the extent that it can be part of the Souls series. There is definitely an element of Souls in the From Software RPGs that sort of release in between the Souls releases, such as Bloodborne and Sekiro, but for me the greatest insult was that after 2015, like around the 2016 mark, people started saying Soulsborne. The anger that would seethe within me when people would say Soulsborne. I'm thinking, ugh. Soulsborne. They're not even worthy of being mentioned in the same word. But that was the emotion that I had attached to Bloodborne at the time. Whether or not it was truly founded, I don't know. But let's focus on leveling up finally. So I'll probably put 2 points into you. Again, not sure if I'm going to use miracles in the future. Should I make a decision on that right now? I probably should, because... Should I go for a damage-based miracle? I should. I should go for God's Wrath. Not that I use it very much, even when I have it. Because the thing with God's Wrath is that it's such slow casting time that I very rarely find a situation in which to use it. But that's kind of the best damage-based miracle in the game. And the reason why that would be important is because I will be increasing my faith for the faith scaling on Hands of God, which relates to miracle power. So and it's probably 2 slots. I don't think it would be 3 for God's Wrath. It's probably 2, well, miracle memory, or spell memory, whatever they call it. Miracle memory is on faith here in this game, which is just messy. And there will also be an MP requirement for casting, probably about 100. Anyway. Yeah, I'm sure Sekiro is probably its own thing. So what you're saying is that if we were to compare Bloodborne to Souls, Bloodborne would lend more from Souls than Sekiro would lend from Souls. And if that's true, then that's a positive thing, but yeah. Is having an unpopular opinion a bad thing? Not in and of itself. The bad aspect, or what's not good... what's not good about having a bad opinion is the fact that you can't really... There's a certain sense of solidarity when you can agree with a person, okay? And if some of the most celebrated games in modern gaming are games that you think are shit, or maybe not shit, but games that you don't appreciate for very specific reasons, people are not going to like that. Now, you would think that having good reasons for disliking something would be cause for people to sort of, you know, step back and go, yeah, fair enough, okay. But what I've found is that if you can explain your dislike for something really, really well, it pisses them off even more, because they can't actually argue against you. They're like, well, shit, this guy actually has a different opinion to me, so I can't handle that. You know, it actually frustrates them. They can take refuge in the thought that maybe I'm just ignorant and have a stupid opinion, or that I'm just trying to, you know, have an edgy take on it. But I don't. Like, I have a legitimately formed opinion, and because it's so different to theirs, they take issue with that point. And it's not easy to have unpopular opinions at all, because, again, people attach their preferences, or they attach their ego to their preferences, and so if you say that one of their favourite games is really, really bad, or detracts from something like the Souls formula or whatever, they will take personal offense to that. They'll be like, this is one of my favorite games and you hate it, that is like a slight against me or something like that. It's not. Like, of course it's not. Like, you can like whatever the hell you want, but I don't like the game, so... Do I like Doom? No. My name is not actually related to Doom in any way. I don't have anything against Doom, but I haven't played them too much, like the different Doom games. I played the original, but not much. Everyone's played the original Doom at least a little bit, but no, I'm not really a Doom fan. Looking from the outside in, I can't believe the main character of the series is called Doom Guy. Like, give him a name. Please give him a name, or just have him nameless. But Doom Guy, I mean, come on. What I would say is that if he becomes a character, like a recurring thing, give him a name. He can't be nameless if he keeps appearing. Like, imagine if Link didn't have a name. He's just, everyone would call him Zelda, I guess. Oh no, if you've got Princess Zelda, then people would realise that he's not Zelda. But imagine not giving him a name, or not giving Mario a name. I mean, you've got to have your characters with names. It's not reasonable. Because otherwise you get things like Doom Guy. Doom Guy. Anyway. How about Doom Man? Or Doom Individual? Doom Human. Is he human? I don't even know. I've been at this level up screen for a very long fucking time. Let's try to actually get this done. We need, I believe, a 19 strength requirement for the Hands of God, so... I'm actually going to hold off on leveling up there. Because I would like to go and purchase. I suppose I should go through 1-2 now, shouldn't I? I think I should. In terms of grass, we are doing perfectly fine. I'm going to use the rest of my Crescent Moon grass. And then we will move on to Half Moon, of which I have 22, which is sufficient. Yes, indeed. Duke Nukem is better than Doom. I think the funniest, one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Now, I have this weird thing where I take pleasure in people's displeasure or disappointment when it comes to things that I don't personally care about. Now, I never really personally cared about Duke Nukem, okay? And then the whole fiasco with Duke Nukem Forever I found so funny because the rage, the disappointment, I mean, because I've always been of the opinion, like, don't get your hopes up, don't get your hopes up. You never know what something's going to be until you've played it. Just take it easy, you know. But that was, I mean, people were so excited for that, and it was just bad. Just bad. You know, it was the Cyberpunk 2077 of its time. But I feel like people were less disappointed by Cyberpunk. And it was just, it was really funny. To me. I'm sure it's a sore spot for some people, but it was just really, really funny. I mean, you know, you've got other examples like Brink that were just, you know, sort of hyped up, but ended up terrible. But Duke Nukem had a history. Like, let's not forget all the stupid Duke Nukem quotes from the early 2000s and all that crap. And, you know, oh, there's a sequel game. Oh, yeah. Finally. Finally, a Duke Nukem sequel. And then it's terrible. Like, actually, bottom of the barrel, scraping the sludge out of the fucking septic tank, level bad. And people were disappointed. Not just disappointed, but enraged. And I just thought it was funny. Hello, Cavenator. Why is Doom in my name? It's kind of like an alternative to Darklink, I suppose. It's an old name, I think I just named myself Doomlink in it was 2008. But, yeah. It's just a name that I stuck with, and, you know, it's always easy to change a name, but for me, I started off with Let's Playing, and I wanted to return to that, and so I returned to the name that I used at that time. In 2014, I returned to that name, and so I've remained Doomlink for a long time now. You know, you grow attached. Oh, stop it with your behaviour. Okay. I'm taking a lot of damage now, if you haven't already noticed. Oh, no, I'm not using the winged spear, I refuse. It will not be done. I mean, they're giving me the winged spear saying, come on, Doomling. Put 2 more points into dexterity, come on, no! Well, let me confirm that it is actually 12. Is it 12? Why do I have so many winged spears? Yeah, it is 12, and I'm not upgrading my dexterity to that point. It is a waste. I'm not doing it. I will spend the 1,500 on the short spear. From our friend, the male Dregling merchant. This bridge is why you rage broke the game, yeah. Well, I think you missed what I was saying before, Vernon, about the red and blue dragons. I hate the way they are coloured in the PS5 version, and I only know how they're coloured based on that screenshot that you sent a few days ago. They look almost cartoonishly coloured. Whereas, let's look at the red dragon. I mean, the blue dragon's the one that really sticks out as being terribly coloured, but the colours here just seem more realistic. We've got the Nader brothers in here, yeah, well. Oftentimes, if you get one, you get the other. It's a buy one, get one free sort of deal. Not that I buy them, but I don't like human slave tradery? Tradery. That's a new word, tradery. How about that? I do not support the human slave trade is what I was meaning to say, but I came out with tradery instead. That's a new word, everyone. You know, that's literally how the English language was conceptualized, or contrived. It was by people doing shit like that. They were like, oh, actually, that's kind of a good word. Let's stick with that. Put that in a dictionary. But if you do it now, it's like, oh, you're an idiot. That's not a word, Doomlink, you fool. Well, maybe I want to be a pioneer. Maybe I want to help expand the English language. Although, one thing that is expanding the English language in a bad way would be the modern vernacular of the internet, which I'm fast losing faith in. Well, I lost faith in it a long time ago, but it's just so bad now. Some of the words that are just being used, I'm thinking, speak English. Like, how hard is it to speak English? Okay, so that's my phone going off. If you can hear something like a woohoo. Oh. Oh, that would be good, yeah. Sorry, I'm getting a text from someone. Yeah, definitely is my response to that text. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Oh really, so the whole remake is too brightly coloured and a bit cartoonish. Phoenix in chat, if I say Vernon, I'm referring to Phoenix2470 in chat. He said that this game here that I'm playing, the original version, is actually brighter, in his opinion, to that of the PS5 version. Now, that is greatly at odds with what you've just said, all hail New Flesh, but from what I've seen, Flesh, I would agree, that it's a bit too brightly coloured and a bit cartoonish. I've only really seen that screenshot. I've seen stuff from launch, I guess. Very few screenshots from launch. And the original trailer of the PS5 game. But most recently I did see the screenshot that Vernon sent to me, which was him in-game with the blue dragon and the red dragon in the distance. And the way they were coloured was just ridiculous. It just looked like complete shit and unrealistic. I mean, at the end of the day, it was unrealistic. That's what got me. The dragons in this game, even with the more primitive graphics, I guess they're primitive by comparison now, at least they're realistic in their coloration. Like, you can actually go, yeah, that's a dragon, and that's probably how it would be coloured. But it looks very... It almost looks low effort in the remake. I don't know why. It couldn't actually be low effort, because no doubt a lot of effort went into the game, the remake, but I don't know. As I said, it looked like some guy took the model, at least of the blue dragon, put it in Microsoft Paint, and used the bucket fill tool with a really ugly shade of blue. That's what it fucking looks like. So, yeah, I'm not too impressed with that. Hello, I might kill you guys for the souls. If the game looks like it's performing poorly, it's because it is. You guys can maybe stop that. Yeah, come on. I've got some dreglings after me too. I call these guys the hat people. Oh, these are the hat people. And these are the dreglings. I mean, the dreglings... calling them dreglings is correct, but hat people is not correct. That is what you would call a colloquialism. Yeah, get out of here. And I've got some stuff to pick up. We've got turpentine, we've got the mail breaker, which I will not use, we've got bolts, which I will not use, and we've got more bolts. I think there were 16 bolts there. Goodness me. You're too young to have Discord. Well, that's interesting. Look, out of respect, Cabinator, I probably wouldn't have you on my Discord anyway. Not out of respect, rather with respect. Perhaps we'll say with due respect. Come on, dragon, thank you. Yeah, I think Juvenate is enough. More than enough. He's already posted like 10 TikTok links, I mean seriously. If I had you in there too, we'd be getting Roblox links, we'd be getting the whole thing. Like the whole suite. And I don't know if I can handle that emotionally. On a lot of levels. I'm having a few problems with all these enemies attacking me, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you flying, and then I'm going to deal with you guys, and then I'm going to turn around again. Never mind. Yeah, come on. Okay, that was so partial a parry that I failed to actually block it, but at least I got the parry animation off with him. You can see there is a huge variation in timing when it comes to parries, as far as what you can actually do with the enemy. Sometimes it blocks and parries, sometimes it just parries, sometimes it fails to block but parries, and then sometimes you fail entirely. Whoa! Okay, now my reaction there was warranted, and I will tell you why. It's because the Knight Shield is a very low drop rate. It's like a... oh, what would it be? Let's say about 3%. I'd say the Knight Shield is about a 3% drop rate. I'm just going to throw that number out there. And it's a very good shield. It is much like the Silver Knight Shield of Dark Souls, the best medium shield in the game for stability, and for a lot of other things. It's a very good shield. You want to see how I handled this boss? Yeah. There's definitely a technique to it. In fact, I think the Tower Knight looks rather similar in the remake to this game. And I will show you the cutscene for it, because it's exactly the same. They actually did it exactly the same, which was very nice of them. In fact, they've likely done that for all the boss cutscenes, now that I think about it. Will I be using the Knight Shield? No. Unless I can already equip it, but I don't think so. I would guess that it has a strength requirement of about 15, 16, something like that. Come on, Crystal Lizard. You can see that I'm doing the first attack there. Ooh, chunk of Hearthstone. I'm doing the first attack because the second one doesn't have the same, I guess, range to it. I guess it would be range, wouldn't it? Yeah. I don't have time for you. Now, if I were fast rolling, that wouldn't be an issue. That's one of the first Stones of Ephemeral Eyes you get in this game. Technically, the one in the Nexus is your first, if you know it's there. I didn't actually pick it up now that I think about it. Got some Royal Lotuses. Alright, boss time. This is one of those bosses that if you know how to fight him, you could go fist only. I mean, you'd be there all day, but... like, literally all day, but... if you know how to do the boss, he's pretty easy. Parrying is about as easy here as it is in Dark Souls. The animation isn't as nice, but the difficulty level's about the same. Have to be careful of your laser. Oh, I said I would play the cutscene, didn't I? Shit, sorry, that's a bad habit. I never watch it, so... well... anyway. It's the same. I'll put it that way. It is a bad habit because I just don't watch the cutscenes anymore. I've seen them a billion times. Oh, you haven't been able to beat him yet, Vernon? Well, I'll give you a... well, I tend to do it anyway. I've been doing it lately. Whenever I do a build of this game, I'm always doing something of a walkthrough where I explain how to play. And the reason why I do it is because it's something to talk about. So I was going to say I guess I'll do like something of a tutorial for this boss, but I do that anyway. So basically you want to start off with killing all the archers along the wall because they will be sniping you during the confrontation. I've never actually fought him without killing all the snipers just to see what it's like, but I can imagine that it sucks. Provided you stand behind this, he's not going to be able to hit you with his laser. Time it for about after he shot his laser and then you'll be fine. When you get in range, he can still shoot his laser, but you don't have to worry about getting hit by it because you can see his accuracy is pretty bad. You want to get in range there, just be aware. Try to watch where he hits his shield. He's got a specific shockwave attached to it. All you want to do, really, is stay behind him and watch to see what he's doing. Don't commit too hard to your attacks, because it helps to know what he's doing. He can jump back, like he's doing right now. See, he still landed on me, despite the fact that I was watching to see what he was doing, and he just did 2 jump backs in a row, which is rare. He's doing this, so I'm going to... see, he can either do the jump back, he can slam his shield on the ground like this. Both pretty bad if you're committing to attacking, so you want to wait. Oh, come on. So, once the ankle guard is broken, that means you can move on to the next one, in terms of the foot. I'm actually going to heal here, it's a bit dangerous. He's in a bad spot in general, he's right up in the corner. I don't like where he is. Now the worst thing to do is what I'm about to do, which is standing here, but I'm doing it because he's in an awkward spot. So I'll run in, this is a scary attack. He tries to spear you, skewer you. That's kind of bad. Now sometimes you can get caught in his shield as he swings it, maybe they fixed that in the remake, I don't know. Again, you want to actually wait or watch for when the ankle guard breaks, because you will get that sort of steam coming out before it's broken. It's not until it actually breaks, and I think there's about 3 different levels to it. So that's the second level. The third one will be an actual break that will mean that you have basically done all you need to do with that particular foot. And once all have been broken, you know, I want to turn him away from the wall, because the idea with this is that you want to attack his head when he falls down. And I don't want him facing... I don't want his back against the wall, because it's not good for hitting his head. This is going to be a little better. In fact, that's perfect. Let's try to break that. Come on, baby. Beautiful. So keep in mind that when he falls down, he can hit you. Couldn't even get done with what I was saying, and it happened. But hitting his head here is good damage. He can hit you as he's getting up here as well. Just happened. That's what he does. And then after that point, you can focus on either of the feet. Just commit to one of the two. The easiest will always be the one furthest from the shield, which is this one here, his right foot. He'll jump back a bit, and he'll be in good position for that. So just keep committing to one foot, even if they're both broken. That can serve as a bit of confusion, but you can see as long as you commit to just one, it's a bit like the Shen Gaoden hunt back in Freedom Unite and Monster Hunter. Just commit to one and you'll be good. You can see he's almost dead. He might actually die from me attacking his foot before I can knock him over again. We'll see what he does. But you can see that the way that I hunt, you can tell I play too much Monster Hunter. The way that I fight this guy is just watching to see what he does. And that's how you do it. And because the technique is fairly effective, I guess, or just knowing how to fight him is so effective against fighting him. Sometimes you can know how to fight a boss and still suffer at the hands of whatever they do. But for the most part, this guy is pretty easy to deal with if you know what to do. Because he's that kind of boss, you can pretty much use anything and still succeed. It's just a matter of how much time it'll take to clear him. There's an achievement for not killing the archers. Well, I didn't know that. Probably still doable. I would imagine it's just a little more annoying. Yeah, that's the Tower Knight. Fun hunt. Fun fight. Keep saying hunt. This always happens when I've played a lot of Monster Hunter for a long time and then I go to another game. I refer to enemies as monsters and I say hunt instead of fight and the whole thing. It's Monster Hunter terminology, forgive me. But anyway, I probably want to level up now. I do have that spear, short spear, using that instead of the winged spear because I don't want to get my dexterity to 12. I think I have a few things to consume here. I never platinumed this or Dark Souls. The achievement existed in this version of the game. I don't know if I've platinumed this game. Maybe I didn't. But I don't think that achievement existed. Do tell me if I'm wrong. Now with the Iron Demon Soul, I don't think there's anything I want to use for that. Well, I don't think there's anything that I want that requires it. So I think we'll just consume it. I'll live with my mistake if I didn't want to do that. Life goes on. Let's seek soul power. Withdrawn from its vessel. I will take you to 19. And I believe there's a faith requirement too. Let's check. Come on. 16 is our faith requirement. So we'll take you to 16, just so that we have it done, we don't have to worry about it. My miracle capacity has increased also. So with you done... What next? I suppose endurance is lacking, isn't it? Okay, we'll get you to 15. Not like now, but that's our next task. In terms of platinuming, that's a bit awkward. Dark Souls I have. I don't think I ever bothered with that. I don't play games like that. I don't try to get all achievements in games, even if I play the game a lot. It's not something I'm interested in. I don't play the sorts of games that require that endgame. I play the games that have a good endgame on their own. The endgame for me in Dark Souls was to get into the PvP community, or rather in addition to that, I also did New Game Plus runs, and I would get a lot of the achievements just by doing that anyway, but I would never aim to get the achievements, and I don't think I got all of them on the PS3 or Xbox 360 versions of Dark Souls, but I did get all the achievements on the PC version. So, technically I have platinumed the game, the original Dark Souls. Haven't done it for any of the others though, to my understanding. It's just not how I play games, so that's why I haven't done it for all of them. But I do, seeing as though I did do it for the first Dark Souls, I do plan to do it for Dark Souls 2 and 3 at some point. Still haven't gotten around to it, because when I'm playing that game, or either of those two games, I'm so focused on my builds that I just don't care about the achievements. Like, for example, you have to play a specific way when you're starting a new build to get some of the achievements, like, and do some of the NPC storylines. I just couldn't be bothered. The way that I play is very sit back, relax, and just do it. I don't want to follow walkthroughs on following some guy's story or something like that. I just couldn't be bothered. That's not how I play Souls anymore, at least. I used to, back when I was first getting started with Souls, I think I was looking at written walkthroughs online, but no, I don't do that anymore. I think it's time for World 2-1, which is going to be the place where we use the short spear that we just acquired, or purchased, I should say. But before we do that, bathroom break. I'll be back momentarily. I'm back. Thanks for the follow, New Flash. So yeah, current objective, now that we have completed the first 2 sections of Archstone 1, is to make our way through the first section of Archstone 2. We're going to get through that, hopefully, nice and quickly. And then we will drop down to the Flame Lurker and get the 2 Hands of God, possibly leave that area without fighting the Flame Lurker, or die intentionally. Because I think I'd like to... Well, I don't think they can be upgraded, can they? Oh no, they can. They require colourless demon souls. Oh my god. I'm going to need 10 colourless demon souls. This is going to be good. Okay. Well... I do wonder. I can completely relate to what you're talking about, Autonomic. Not to say that I've made the same mistake. Autonomic's basically saying he was trying to get all achievements in the first Dark Souls game, and there was the one where you had to make all the boss soul weapons, and he made the wrong one, and I'm assuming that that's referring to the ones that require Soul of Civ. And I think there were 3 of those. And he obviously made the wrong one. There's one that requires, I think, New Game Plus. But anyway, yeah, I can imagine that would be extremely annoying, and I'm sorry to hear that happened to you. But, yeah, the one with the boss soul weapons probably is the one that you really need to go out of your way to do. So, yeah. So you probably made, I don't know, the Abyss Greatsword instead of the Cursed Greatsword of Artorias, or, you know, Greatsword of Artorias, something like that, you know, one of those sorts of mistakes. Actually, it would probably be the Greatsword of Artorias instead of the Cursed Sword of Artorias, vice versa. So, yeah, sorry to hear that. That's pretty awful. And if I'm getting the names wrong, then forgive me. I don't remember things like that. At least not after I've been away for a while. I think we are ready to go. I don't think there's anything else I was wanting to do before going, right? This cling ring isn't very helpful, but I have no other ring to equip, so I'll keep it there. I haven't actually considered what armor set to use for this build. It'll be a fast rolling build, so maybe it can be a light set, but maybe if I put points into endurance, I can have a heavier set. I can always change the set that I will use. That's not something I need to commit to, because you don't level up armor pieces in this game. Well, what would be a good set? Chainmail's not very attractive, you see. In terms of its stats, it's kind of ideal. It's not quite heavy and it's not quite super light. But I don't like the look of it. I'll ruminate on that. Don't need to make a decision right now. Do I want to upgrade anything? Is it... You know what? Let's do that, because we're not going to need any of our upgrade materials for the Hands of God. So we may as well just use what we have with the mace and the short spear, and you can see that the mace requires Hearthstone, and the short spear requires Sharpstone, so those are not going to actually interfere with one another. So that's great. So let's upgrade those. That's a good idea. You see, this is why I consider whether or not I'm ready to go. It's because oftentimes there will be something that I hadn't considered doing. And then I'll think, oh, actually let's do that. That will help me with my quest or whatever I'm doing. So, slow and steady wins the race, as they say. Not perfectly applicable to that situation, but same idea, you know, don't go rushing into things. Sometimes going slow can be a positive. Alrighty, so we're going to start off with killing our friend the Crystal Lizard. He doesn't give you amazing stuff, but he gives you stuff. You can see, because there's a decline here, I wanted to get him on the uphill. Because otherwise our weapon might go over him and that would be really annoying and all that business. That's the Filthy Man. He is good for purchasing regular shards of Hardstone and Sharpstone if that's all you require in the early game, which, you know, generally is. For instance, we only need one more Hardstone shard, I believe, to upgrade this mace. So we could go and buy one from him right now, but we can't because I've actually only got 374 souls. We actually need 500 to get one shard of Hardstone. But my point is that we could do that if we wanted to. Like, I could go and get the souls that I need and upgrade the mace, but I couldn't really be bothered. So we're switching to the spear now. I might go up and down with the elevator, but first and foremost I'd like to use the spear to do this. Not necessarily backstabbing, because backstabbing will, no matter what, be effective against these guys, because backstabbing is technically thrust damage. But these guys are resistant to the damage that our mace will deal. At least I believe so. Yes. So that's 19 damage with the mace, and that's 53 with our spear. Yet if we compare the difference in damage from the mace and the spear, that's only a difference of 7 in end value. Which means there's a discrepancy there. It means that there is an increased resistance to whatever this is. Impact, blunt, I don't know. So they are resistant, I believe, to blunt impact and cutting. What they are not resistant to is stabbing or thrusting or whatever the hell it is. I don't even know the terminology, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Got the fat official here. That was intended. I continued moving in that direction while drinking, because I knew that provided I continued moving, he wouldn't be able to hit me with that. The fat officials have 2 spells that they cast, and you can see that they can also swing their crops. The 2 spells that they cast are Flame Toss and Ignite. Ignite is actually combustion for the Dark Souls players. You know, I probably don't even need to say things like that anymore, because, again, a lot of people watching this probably know the PS5 version. Like, they know Demon Souls now, so I don't have to say things like Ignite is actually combustion, so assuming they didn't update the names, which I don't think they would have. Supposedly a faithful remake. Hello. Yeah. It's not like a perfect rendition, but I'm not that committed. New Flesh, I was really expecting them to have DLC for that. And now that I think about it, I've been so out of the loop with the Demon Souls remake that I'd never even confirmed, or even thought to confirm, whether or not they made the Broken Archstone functional. Because the Broken Archstone was intended to be add-on content for this game. It was the Land of the Giants. And if they don't make DLC out of that for the Demon Souls remake, then I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. Because it's about that time, isn't it? It's about that time where we would at least be getting an announcement if there was going to be DLC. So, yeah, I don't know about that. That's very strange. It's very strange. Maybe that's beyond Bluepoint's capability. Like, they're not willing to actually create a new location based on those very primitive files that could be, for example, data mined from the original Demon Souls game. I don't know, or maybe From Software doesn't want that. Maybe they don't want the Land of the Giants to be there. Maybe it was cut because they thought it was bad, I don't know. Make it good is what I say. It's not just for the new players, it's for the old players. Like, give us a chance to experience that location. In my opinion, or at least as my opinion was at the time, I really felt that there was no question that we were going to get the Land of the Giants. But the fact that it still hasn't dropped is, or hasn't even been mentioned, I would assume, is cause for concern. I guess that means it's not going to happen. Or maybe they're just biding their time. I don't know. I have to say, it's been a very messy situation for the PS5. Just a very messy situation. Launched right in the middle of the fucking pandemic. And now there's a fucking microchip shortage. I mean, the whole thing is just a complete shit show. It really is. The PS5 launch has been plagued by issues that, I mean, there's no precedent for them. It's ridiculous. I almost feel for Sony, but I don't, because I don't care about console gaming, but yeah. I feel that any perpetuation of the console space by way of exclusive titles is an insult to the gaming industry, but aside from that opinion, I kind of feel for Sony. Because it is awkward. Anyway. They've probably still done alright, just not as well as they would have. No, I just hate exclusive titles. I mean, every time I say that, I always get the comment, well, they have a right to do that. It's like, when did I say they didn't have a right to do it? Of course they have a right to make exclusive titles. What I'm saying is that I don't like it. And I'm saying that if they had any sense, they would make their own... Well, here we go. So I was going to say that they could make their own game launcher on PC. But the counter-argument to that is, well, we don't want too many game launchers on PC. Well, I don't know. Pick your poison. Are we going to have games stunted? Because most of them are being developed so that consoles can run them? Or are we going to make games just better overall because only PC is an option? Which is a better platform for everything. Because everything runs better and for less money, so... Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, console gaming's still lucrative, so they perpetuate it. Well, you say that, New Flesh, but imagine if they'd waited until a year later. Then they might have been affected by the microchip shortage. At least they were able to manufacture a number of consoles before that became an issue. So it does beg the question if waiting a year would have been better timing for them. Not that I really know, I'm only going based on my limited information, my limited knowledge of the whole situation, because I don't keep up with it, I don't care. I haven't needed to buy tech for a while, like for more than a year, and I don't care about console gaming, so I'm technically uninformed, but based on what I know, I don't think waiting a year would have helped them. It would have been damned if they did, damned if they didn't, and quite frankly, I think they would have been better off not even bothering with a fucking physical console. In fact, that would have completely solved their problem, wouldn't it? If it was all about software and game launches, you wouldn't have an issue with microchips now, would you? Technically, there would be issues with PCs still, but would that affect cash flow quite as much? I don't think so. Specifically for companies like Microsoft and Sony. Don't think so. Do I have a Switch? Yeah, I do. I bought a Switch for... In fact, I sold my PS4 and Monster Hunter World for a Switch when Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate was announced. Because I was not really expecting Monster Hunter Double Cross to get a translation in English, and it did. So, I was so damn excited that I was like, get this Monster Hunter World game out of my face, and I'm gonna sell it along with the system that I bought it for. And, well, the system that I bought for that game. And I'll go get a Switch, and I did, and yeah, that's a good purchase. It was a great purchase. So, I do indeed own a Switch. And the thing with the Switch is that you can't treat it as you would a stationary console. You can't compare it to other stationary consoles, because it's not a stationary console. It can be used as one, but it is not only a stationary console, and so for that reason you can't say, oh, the specs are so shit. Well, yeah, they are, because it's a portable system. They have to fit the hardware into a small form factor, therefore it's going to suck, compared to, say, like a PS4 Pro or whatever. It's just what it is. And now there's an even greater disparity, because you're now going to be comparing the Switch, Nintendo's latest handheld system, to that of the PS5. That's a bit sad, isn't it? I mean, it's Nintendo. That's the Nintendo problem. It's all about the game titles. It's not about how the system performs. But Nintendo shoots themselves in the foot, or shoots themselves in the foot, by allowing AAA titles to come to the Switch, because that just begs for comparison to, or it begs for comparisons to be made. Because of course, if you've got a AAA title that is most often played on a PS4 or an Xbox, or well, a PlayStation whatever and an Xbox whatever. I don't even know what the naming system of the new Xboxes are, because it's so beyond all sensible naming that I just don't even care anymore. It all went to shit with Xbox One, and now it's, you know, probably worse, but yeah, had they just gone the route of 720, I mean, everyone would have been happy, including me, but they couldn't fucking help themselves. They had to actually do something stupid, so yeah. Point being that you beg for comparison when you allow games like... What are some examples? I don't know examples because I don't keep up with modern games, but you know, generic modern game that was released on PS4, PS5, or Xbox whatever, that also happens to be on the Switch. Of course, you're not going to touch the Switch version with a 10-foot pole, because it's not going to run as well. It's not going to look as good. It's not going to run as well. It's just an inferior experience. Oh, but you can play it portably. But that's not for everyone. But yeah, my point is, I mean, I'm not really making a point. I'm just talking, but at times I do let myself say the Switch has bad hardware. But you can't say that. Maybe you can now, but 3 years ago, no. Because it was a portable system. You know, it was that or the fucking 3DS, which I do not support the 3DS. I've never supported the 3DS. I thought 3D was a gimmick from the beginning, and it was. But worst of all, it was the fact that the hardware was just not good. It just wasn't good. And people... Anyone who's played on the PlayStation Vita, and I don't want people to go, oh, the Vita, that thing bombed Doom Link. Yeah, it did. Not because of the hardware. I can tell you it's not because of the hardware. Anyone who's even held a PlayStation Vita will tell you that it's not because of the hardware, because the hardware was fucking spot on. Like, it was excellent. Just lovely hardware. The problem with it was that it didn't have the titles that warranted the purchase, or that would justify the purchase. But if you're going to compare hardware, let's be fair. New 3DS XL versus PlayStation Vita, the new 3DS XL is a pile of junk. Pile of junk. And I said that to someone who owned a PlayStation Vita, and he said, oh, that's not a fair comparison. The PlayStation Vita is amazing. You can't compare the 3DS to that. Well, I can, and I'll tell you why. It's because the PlayStation Vita is not some kind of standout that is beyond what you'd expect of the times. It's not. It's what you should expect of the times. It's Nintendo that is so primitive. It's Nintendo that, by comparison, the PlayStation Vita is just so incredible hardware-wise. It's because of the comparison that you have. It's like comparing a horse and cart to a fucking Rolls Royce. It's fucking... It really is. So, yeah. In fact, let me put it this way. It's like living in the 1920s and comparing a horse and cart to a Rolls Royce. How about that? Because that changes depending on the era. So, that's what I'm talking about, you know. The Rolls Royce would be a thing of its era, Whereas the horse and cart would still be functional, but not of its era. And certainly not comparable in a sensible world. But I don't really want to commit too heavily to the analogy, but because at the end of the day, well, you don't have to fuel your horse and cart, but I mean, your horse does need to be maintained. You know, you have to feed your horse and water your horse and make sure the horse is alright. Get your blinkers on for the horse so that the other vehicles don't spook it. And, you know, there's maintenance involved on both sides. So. But my point is that the PlayStation Vita is a system of its time, and the 3DS is not. And ultimately, the Nintendo Switch is an improvement as a handheld system over the 3DS. So, there you go. That was a fun conversation, wasn't it? Did I achieve anything with it? Probably not. Breath of the Wild is the best Switch game? No. Because it's a good game, sure. But I prefer Generations Ultimate. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. I would say that for what you get, purchasing it. I mean, considering that Breath of the Wild was a launch title, yeah, pretty good. Almost worth a console purchase on its own. But, yes, I know, a lot of people like the 3DS, but it's my opinion that the vast majority of people who like 3DS are 3DS apologists. In fact, let me rephrase that. People who think that 3DS was a good system for Monster Hunter. And I have to make it very clear that my opinions are coloured on account of me being a Monster Hunter player. You know, it's not a good Monster Hunter system. It's my opinion that people who think that the 3DS is a good Monster Hunter system are apologists. So, I mean, it's not okay. I'm going to drop these mail breakers, I don't need them. You can see that I'm running out of equip load. Yeah, come on. It's a bit slow going picking this stuff up. Oh, come on. Now you're overburning me, okay. Oh, I've got iron knuckles. I'm kind of being forced to use them now, aren't I? Should we see what kind of damage they do? It's not going to be good damage versus the scale miners, but I'm trying to demonstrate it and the fucking everything is getting in the way. Let's drop the Crescent Axe, that's weighing us down. We're not going to need that. I like to collect things, but I don't want to run out of equip load when I've got more worthwhile things to pick up. Or potentially more worthwhile things to pick up. But yeah, I mean, that's a very long conversation, Vernon, but let me just say this. When it was first announced that Monster Hunter would be coming to the 3DS, I thought it was an actual joke. I didn't take it seriously. I thought it was a joke. Well, it wasn't announced, it was rumoured. You know, this was back in 2011, when we were actually seeing stuff about Monster Hunter 4 before we were seeing stuff about Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, or Monster Hunter 3G, as it was at the time. I thought it was a joke. I genuinely thought that Monster Hunter could not possibly work on the 3DS, so there's no way they would come out with a game on the system. But they didn't. They didn't just do it for one game either. So, there you go. Come on. I don't trust you. Alright, I'll go. Let's use our iron knuckles. I'm going to stand here to target him and then use this as a shield. Oh god, the fucking damage is just not okay. Yeah, swing your crop. Maybe I shouldn't use these. They're just unupgraded. I don't want to do this to myself, you know. I can live with it, but I don't need to, so I won't. Don't worry, I'll get the hands of God soon. They're not far away. There you go. It's still low damage, but it's better than that. God. Now that was Ignite. You can see it's got a cross shape to it. And it doesn't go very far. Yeah, stop hitting me with your crop. I probably won't record for too much longer. I'll probably just get the Hands of God, and I don't know if I'll actually end up killing the Flame Lurker. I could. But do I want to? Maybe not. Might save it for the next recording. Don't you dare. That's going to hurt if you hit me. He used Ignite at the wrong range, fortunately. You can see that I don't have ideal damage for this location, even. Come on. There you go. One of the few enemies in gaming history that laugh when they die. There's nothing too much funny about one's own death. You know, there's probably a few enemies in gaming that... or in games in general that laugh when they die. But I think back to, like, Castlevania, for example. The DS Metroidvania games, there was a creature in Portrait of Ruin and Dawn of Sorrow that was actually a clown. And, you know, he screamed when he died. He was like, "Arr!" Something like that. So, really, even clowns scream when they die. Yet that guy's fucking laughing about it. He's like, "Ha ha ha, I'm dead." Well, if that's what death does to you. I mean, you can be at peace upon death, but laughing about it's kind of interesting. I'm not going to pick that up. That's Spider Stone. I don't need Spider Stone. Alright. Let's fight the Armor Spider. Fairly easy fight. Provided you don't get hit by that. Don't want to get hit by that. Just roll through that. Easier to use the shield, I feel. Now, that's the biggest thing about this fight. Staying directly in front of the Armor Spider when she does that real... like, if she's really telegraphing that heavy attack, this here, don't go to either side of her, because you will get hit by that and it hurts. So, that's the way you do it. And now it's time to run away. As long as you're standing about here, just almost against the fog gate, you'll be alright. Watch out for the web. Or that. Yeah, stop him. Web? No. No web today. It's good. I don't like your web. I've never liked it. You know, I'll probably just stick to going two-handed at this point in the confrontation. Yeah, it's better. Just stick with two. I don't have the stamina otherwise. It's a bit of a slow-going fight, honestly. Because most people who reach this point in the game don't have great equipment. Which is definitely the situation for me right now. Web. Yes. And you can see that I started moving too soon. Now the web will burn, but you can see she tries to follow up immediately. Fortunately, she missed. She, he, doesn't really matter. I mean, why refer to a spider as female all the time? You think there are no female spiders? Come on. We're not French. If you know what I mean. Come on. Just wanted to manage my stamina a bit. Now I could always, if she goes into the, yeah, so I can hit her here and kill her. Out you go. with the trash. The demon was destroyed. Yes, indeed. Quite destroyed. I don't mind picking up the spider stone here because I don't really have to go out of my way to get it. Whereas that corridor before, I wasn't really in the mood. So, what I could do... I'm not going to be getting any colourless demon souls for a while. And I don't know if I want to use Hands of God against the Flame Lurker. You know what I might do? I'm probably just going to level up. And then call it. I'm going to finish up. I'll save the Hands of God for later. I'm sure some people will be indignant. They'll be like, this is a fist-only build. Or a fist weapon-only build. And they'll be like, well, why have you been using the mace for the whole first part? Well, because I don't really have any other options. Sorry. My other options involve swinging my fist at the monster, and you don't want to see that. I don't care who you are, you don't want to see that. You'd stop watching, and then that would be pointless. I'd be catering to a person who wouldn't even be watching, so... go home. So there you go. Hard Demon Soul. Yummy, yummy. So I think that'll do me. Once I have consumed all of these, I will level up and then finish up. Yes, yes. So, let's get you to 15. Because I think 100 MP is the requirement to cast anything, basically. It could be 120, but I think 100 is a safe bet. Okay, because... excuse me, fucking hell. I'm belching on camera. Basically, until you have a lot of MP, it's not really worth getting more intelligence than what you need to cast, because you're going to need... you will require the consumption of like fresh spice or old spice each time you cast anyway if you don't have much MP, so just focus on what you require to cast something. There will always be a cast requirement MP-wise for all spells or miracles. So focus on that. I still haven't checked, but I believe it's around 100, so... Endurance to 15, as I said I would, and then we already have the stat requirements for Hands of God, fortunately. So I think maybe or Vitality rather, to 20 is our next objective. I do thank you all for watching. I will see you all next time I'm recording. I'm not going to do too much Demon Souls. I'm not going to be recording this every week, I don't think. I might try to do at least one per week, but every time I say that, I just don't. Like, no matter what it is, if I say I'm going to try and do one per week of this game, I just don't, so don't hold me to anything I say. But maybe hold me to the fact that I'm not going to record too much of Demon Souls. But I do thank you all for watching regardless, and I will see you all next time I'm recording something of mine that you would like to see. Bye bye for now.